Going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. Welcome to another edition of Dangle Betselli, powered by FTN Bets right here on Game Plus Network, FTN Network Live. You're hanging out with us. Smash the like button. Any comments, any questions? You guys know the drill. You can leave them at any point. We always circle back on these videos, on these shows. If you have a fantasy hockey question, I know it is crunch time leading up to fantasy hockey playoffs. Eric Young and Chris Meaney here to help you out. EY, happy Thursday. 10 games to break down on the ice tonight in the NHL. Patrick Kane going to make his debut at MSG tonight. And every other 10 minutes, there's a trade in the NHL. The deadline is tomorrow. And you and I were chatting before we got on here. And everybody knows this as a hockey fan. This has been one of the wildest trade deadlines in a long time. A little bit of the drunkenness that we see in the NBA from year to year. Man, it has been wild. And the latest that just came down, Tyler Bertuzzi traded from Detroit to the Boston Bruins, a first and a fourth going the other way. It does sound like Taylor Hall is going to miss significant time. Is that confirmed? Is he done for the season? I thought maybe there was a chance he could come back for the playoffs. But anyways, Bruins get richer. And man, what a wild week in the NHL, dude.
Dude, I haven't been able to sleep, right? Like, this literally doesn't affect my life in any way, but I feel like right now it does. This is, it's for sure in the last 2 decades, the craziest trade deadline. And they're still today and tomorrow. Like, I got 3 really good buddies that are all hockey lunatics. They're going to show up at my house at 8:30 in the morning, and we're just going to watch the coverage all day, talk about it all day. It's going to be amazing. We were just talking before we get on the move Bertuzzi to Boston, the rich get richer, the Chikrin deal. It was insane. We waited all that time. And that's the deal. Like, Arizona, look, I got a Coyotes jersey on, but I'm kind of embarrassed to be wearing it.
Listen, they're doing the right thing. They got like 21 draft picks in the next.
Dude, that's all they got for the best available defenseman.
Yeah, I get it. You know, for it was the first 2 seconds. I get it. Yeah, probably should have got a prospect. Maybe they would have gotten more, a couple years ago. I'd love to hear. I mean, I'm sure if there was a better move, they would have taken it. But
and that's what everyone
maybe they
says,
had it last year. But I mean, if you're the GM of Arizona, you're taking the best possible deal. You're not saying, okay, fine, I'm not going to trade you to LA, even though you're offering me a prospect and 2 firsts. I'll just trade you to Ottawa for first and 2 seconds. I think the biggest thing was they probably, if they traded him this time last year, they probably would have got a lot more. I mean, he's under term. He's not a rental. He's, got a sexy cap at like 4.6 or something like that. He's a great defenseman. He's a guy that's got so much endurance, plays 25, 26 minutes when he's healthy and he's playing. I thought Ottawa did really good.
Ice, right?
I thought Ottawa did really good in that.
This is an Ottawa Senator show, right?
It is. It is. Thanks to you, it is.
That's man. What a move for Ottawa.
And Dorian's done a really good job over the past year. And thinking about it, like Stützle's extended, and he's only 21, and he's just lighting the world on fire. Kachuk is extended. Josh Norris is extended. They brought in Alex DeBrincat, whether he is part of the long-term future or not, we'll see. And then you bring in Jacob Chikrin. The Senators have done a really good job, and they're only 5 points out of a playoff spot with like games in hand. So, and they had the back-to-back W's against Detroit. The Sens are buyers. And the Detroit Red Wings are sellers after those 2 games. So wildness. We got Emmerich in the house here. What's going on? What's up, guys? What's your biggest surprise in trades and best addition to you? What do you think? What jumps off the page for you?
I mean, judging by the play, and I know they got beat by Ottawa, but the Ryan O'Reilly to Toronto seems to be, I think me included, thought that Ryan O'Reilly looked kind of burnt, He doesn't look
How's he look lately to you? Fine?
He's looked pretty good.
They experimented last night, I noticed, in the third period. They put him on the third line with Lafferty, and I forget who else now.
Yeah, and I think in the end, that's what they really want to do, right? They want to have Matthews, Tavares, O'Reilly. Good luck matching up with your centers, right? Like that's insane. That's like video game stuff. Like that doesn't – it doesn't even make sense that it happened. And it's all because of this crazy trade deadline. The move started happening and other teams it's punch, counter punch, punch, counter punch. And the West still really hasn't done anything. I still believe there's going to be a ton of movement today and tomorrow. And a lot of it's going to be from teams in the West that are jockeying for position. because the reality is it's wide open. It's who wants to make the move. You may not win the Stanley Cup, but you can it's still wide open for 6 or 7 teams to play for the Stanley Cup, but they got to make some moves here. So I still think that's going to happen. I think it's good for the Ottawa Senators, but I think all this time with Chychrun, who wants to be traded, he's young. The contract is really good. He's a really, really, really good player. And
Yeah,
I feel that Arizona got fleeced. And that's why they're Arizona.
it is. I saw Cap Friendly say they have 21 picks over the next, including first, second, and third rounds over the next 3 years.
Great.
They're going to be able to.
All 21 of those guys may not be NHL players. That's unlikely, right? That's unlikely.
They're going to hit on some of them. They're going to hit on some of those 21 for sure.
It's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Crapshoot.
Well, that's why I didn't mind the Tampa Bay trade. Like with Tanner Jeannot, when you're shipping a third, fourth, and a fifth, who cares?
And Brisebois said it. A team like that is only assembled, once every 10 years. Their time to win is now. He's not worried about in 5 years because that team's not going to look like that in 5 years. And look at Tampa Bay Lightning fans. Lean in here. Lean in real close. Pain is coming for you guys. It's coming.
Here we go.
So if you have money to go to games and buy tickets, do it now. Because in 5 years, this is going to be one of the worst teams in the NHL. Remember, I said this. Okay.
And it may. You're probably not wrong. We see this.
They have nothing left.
Sure, but they have the luxury of signing players and players going there. You've heard players talk about going to those states where there's no taxes, nice weather. Yeah, it's very appealing, and they have a lot of friendly contracts. But I agree. In 5 years, they probably they won't be elite. There's no question they won't be elite. Stammer's going to be a lot older. Hedman, all those guys are going to be a lot older. But right now, they're in it to win. And we touched on it Tuesday. Who cares, right? Do you think the Rams care that they don't have a top 10 pick this year because they traded a first for Matthew Stafford? No, they won a Super Bowl. They don't care. TSN.
This is the circle of life. It's inevitable.
Absolutely. Darren Drager of TSN says that the injury factored into the addition Tyler Bertuzzi to Boston. Taylor Hall is seeking a second opinion for his lower body issue. The follow-up assessment will determine how long he's out for the Bruins. I think that's pretty telling that he is going to miss significant time. They went out and got him. But if he's able to come back in the second round, you potentially have a third line in Boston that's Bertuzzi, Coyle, and Taylor Hall. And that's why I think Brian O'Reilly is pretty important as a third line center. Here's a look at some of the trades in case you've missed some of them. Just answering the question from Emmerich. I think the biggest passage just got paid. Oh my, it's all happening. I'm interested to see how what the significance of that contract is and how much it is. Is it 12? Is it more than that? I'll double check here in a second. If you guys could help us out, that'd be great. So the biggest trades, the most impactful up at the top, Timo Meier. I mean, Timo Meier is not a rental. He's an RFA. That's a great get. And Jack Hughes has been playing with, a lot of different wingers this year. Eric Holla, Zetterlund at times, now potentially next to Timo Meier, or maybe they go Timo Meier next to his Swiss countryman, Nico Hischier. Nonetheless, you add an elite goal scorer, a guy that was number one in expected goals for, shot attempts at 5.5 per 60, and it's a great get. The Rangers, Patrick Kane, a rental, but also a really good get. I think Jacob Chychrun, we just talked about it, a fantastic ad for the Senators, not a rental, and just taking, some pressure and ice time away from Thomas Chabot, who's just been averaging so much over the past couple of years. I love the Ekholm deal to the Oilers as well. I thought it was exactly what they needed. I know he hasn't had a fantastic season, but this is the type of defenseman that they need in their lineup. I thought he played a pretty good game against your Leafs yesterday. Shane Goss appeared to the Hurricanes. Carolina just loves defensemen. My goodness. Gabakroff to the Kings. Also Korpisalo to the Kings, and Jonathan Quick to Columbus. Not too happy about that. But listen,
wild ride.
What are you gonna do? Are you just gonna? Oh, I get it. He's a legend in LA. He's done so many things for them. He's won a couple cups, but the guy's got a goals against average at almost 4. His save percentage is like 860. Yeah, he's been awful this year. So you can't just hang on to him.
That's a good team. Phoenix Copley has looked like a really good goaltender. He is not.
No,
Jonathan Quick is done.
And Korpisalo is better than Copley, I think. So I think
so too.
good move. We'll see if Quick, maybe there's some rumors
Yep.
that Quick gets traded to Vegas. We'll see what happens there. Philip Peronic to Vancouver. I have no idea what the Canucks are doing. They're just such a weird organization. Why do you give a first round pick for Philip Peronic? I mean, they should be selling, not buying. It's just unbelievable. Good on Stevie Y, right? We've talked so much over the years about Stevie Y. When he calls, let's just hang up. He sold high on Philip Peronic, and a great win for Detroit. Gus was saying Jake McKay, Braden Shen to, or not Braden, you wish, Luke Shen to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Lars Eller to Colorado. I think that was a really good underrated move. Some stability on their third line. They've been missing that, of course, with Kadri gone this year. GT Conference played good lately, but Lars Eller is your third line center. He's got cup experience. In fact, he had the Stanley Cup winning goal for the Washington Capitals against the Golden Knights a couple years ago. Mikael Granlund, dude, the Penguins, I feel like this is desperation mode. Clearly, they have a window. I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs, but they're doing whatever they can with Crosby and Malkin and Letang to get this done. But I didn't love that trade ultimately for the Penguins. Nyquist to the Wild, and I think Marcus Johansson went to the Wild as well. They're trying to do what they can to try to find a little bit of goal scoring. But, man, a lot of moves, and it's exciting times to be an NHL fan.
I'm seeing that the Pastrnak deal is 14
million.
Yep.
I'm not surprised, right? McKinnon's got true, the most.
That's what I'm seeing right now.
McKinnon got from 14 is wild. Oh. They've had him on
Super
basically
cheap.
The best contract in the NHL for years, like 6 something. Yep. And a lot of these guys, just like the Bruins, just like the Lightning, have taken hometown discounts, like McAvoy, Bergeron, Marchand. 14 million's a lot. But it's the way that the NHL is trending, and he's an elite goal scorer. So what are you going to do? Crazy. Wow. 14. Unbelievable. What's your guys' favorite trade? Love to hear from you guys. Hammerhead Union in the house here. He did mention our guy, Mikey Easimont. Yes, that's
John's
right.
John's a wild man. Like, we can just, right? We can just say
he's part of the family. He's a hockey psycho. Like,
if you were to build a prototype fan of this show, that's who you build.
Before we even went live, he had like 7 or 8 bets for us. I love it. He fits right in with the fam. But Mikey Easimont, my boy, who we've been taking for shot props, you got to cross him off the list now because he was getting top time in San Jose, and this is not going to be the case with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Meaney in the house. What's going on? Morning, guys. Missed Tuesday. Got the shirts. Just wanted to say thank you both. Absolutely. Love it.
Yeah, that's been a really cool thing for me. Like, people sharing the pictures. I mean, you don't have to put pictures up, but it warms my cold, dead heart, guys, when I see
it. I love to see them
in the wild. It's so cool. I love sharing it and people seeing, and it's I've had a couple jealous tweets, people that didn't get them or missed a couple weeks of the shows and didn't end up getting one. So I don't think we'll ever do that again because it's a lot of work. And, not cheap, but I'm glad I did it. And it's so cool seeing everybody with their shirts out there. This is such a cool community. And I was very happy to do it.
Maybe it'll be me who does it next time, but I don't know if John Gibson's going to go anywhere. I mean, he's a good goalie, needs out of Anaheim, but he's got 3 years left at 6.4. He's had some injury concerns. It's a lot of risk to take Gibson on. No more Stevie Y in Tampa. They are done. Bruce Buzz doing pretty good himself.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good. I don't know if you watched the Stanley Cup playoffs last year, but they definitely played for the Stanley Cup and could have won it.
I do like this Ekholm, as we mentioned earlier. Ekholm to the Oilers, right? You've watched Ekholm for years. It's a good fit.
He's a stud. An absolute stud. He's mobile. He's mean. Super defensively responsible. Can pitch in on the offensive side. Can really shoot the puck, is a smart player. The thing for me is, like, I think a lot of people don't understand how good he is because you're not watching him all the time. And even when you watch him, he doesn't stick out. And I mean, listen, if you have a defenseman like him, you don't want to notice him. You want him just quietly beating people up in front of the net, smashing people. He's got a long, like, his stick is so good. Like, he's just it's exactly what Edmonton needed, man. They needed him 2 years ago. And he's a great player. They're going to love him there.
Meddy's breaking the news for us, and I can confirm it from Pierre LeBrun and Frank Saravelli. It is 8 years, 90 million, 11.25. I think that's a steal. I think he should have got 12 plus. I think he
Oh,
should
it's
get
11.25. I don't know where I got 14 from.
1.25. He should, I don't know, man. He should be getting what McKinnon got. McKinnon's never had a 100-point season. He's a center. It's a little bit different. He's won a cup, but Pasternak is an elite goal scorer. Anyways, good for Pasta.
Yep.
Good for the Boston Bruins. And speaking of the Bruins, let's get after tonight. Let's put that there for our guy George. And let's start with the Boston Bruins and the Buffalo Sabres. We did call about upset here. Where's Troy? Blue Jackets against the Sabres the other night. How about Jack Quinn, ladies and gentlemen? That guy made us rich on Tuesday. Maybe not rich, but we were pretty happy with the results. We had him for an assist. We had him for a point. We had him for a goal. It's like 8 units right there for Mr. Quinn. But how about Linus Ullmark? What a performance the other day against the Calgary Flames. 54 saves. This guy has locked up the Vezina. He has been fantastic. I see some people on Twitter, anybody can play goal for the Bruins. That is just nonsense. He was so good in that game. And I would imagine the Sabres franchise and their fans are like, you know what? We could really use Linus Ullmark in that. We had him once upon a time. We just decided that we didn't want to keep him anymore. The Bruins are heavy favorites in this game, as you see. Minus 285 is the live odds if you want to back them, the best possible odds at DraftKings. And I'm seeing the Sabres at plus 245 from our friends over at PointsBet. I think we could see an upset here. It's really tough to go against the Bruins. They're just so good. Those back-to-back games against the Oilers and the Flames, they were really tested in both of those games. Now they go back home. I wouldn't put a lot of money on this, but EY, I feel like the Sabres could win this game, and I wouldn't be shocked. At one, did the Bruins slow down at any point, or this is a team that's going to cruise all year long? Like they had a little bit of adversity about a month ago.
Yeah,
man, they've just been perfect all
They're
year.
going after that record now, right? Like they're the most wins in a regular season. They're chasing it, and they could do it. I think someone shared it the other day. They've got to go 12 more wins and 7 losses. Like they could probably do that in their sleep.
Yeah, they probably could. What do you got tonight? Any chance of an upset first? Or am I crazy?
Oh, I mean, Buffalo is fun, right? Like, I mean, they can score with anyone. I think the problem is the goaltending has all season been up and down. I mean, there's 3 of them. You never know who's going to start. I've lost a lot of weeks in my goalie categories because I start one and I choose the wrong one and I forget to go back and check it because I have too many teams because I'm a lunatic. But yeah, I mean, they could definitely beat them. But I'm not betting on Buffalo to beat. I'm not betting on anybody to beat the Boston Bruins, home or away.
Is that your pick to go to the Cup in the East?
Yes. Yeah. Out of the East, I mean, my heart wants it to be Toronto, but I don't know if anyone can beat Boston. I mean, it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah. Orlov just looks like such a beautiful. Like he just fits in so nice.
He's made to play there, right? Yeah, he's made to play there. So I got Tage Thompson and Dylan Cousins. Still, I'm going back to those guys. Those are the guys that I believe in. And on the Boston side, Pasta, of course, and DeBrusk.
Yeah, DeBrusk has been pretty good. I like the value
really
on Bergeron for an assist. The one thing with the Sabres, I mean, they can hang with anybody offensively. We know that, but they just haven't really gotten the goaltending. They've allowed a lot of goals, a lot of rubber. They play to a lot of overs. So I feel like Bergeron, on that top line, top power play, at plus 155 for an assist. I don't think that's too bad. And also maybe put this into like a parlay. The past month, I've probably been doing, ever since DeBrusk returned to the lineup, even before that, I've been doing DeBrusk, Bergeron, and Marchand for a point at around plus 240 over at Bet365. It just correlates. Even though the last game we saw, actually, they moved DeBrusk off that line. Just want to double check. I don't know if Daily Faceoff. They have DeBrusk on there, but whether they were just trying to create a spark against the Flames because Calgary was really taking it to them, the DeBrusk wasn't on that top line. In fact, they had Charlie Coyle playing on the wing there for a little bit, which I thought was interesting. But Patrice Bergeron minus 155 for a point. I'm going back to Quinn. I mean, why not? Jack Quinn for an assist is plus 280. For a point, he's plus 136. For a goal, he's plus 350. Obviously, the matchup is, I mean, he went from the easiest matchup against the Blue Jackets to the toughest against the Bruins. So proceed with caution. But this is a guy that I do believe could get a point playing with Tage Thompson and play with Jeff Skinner. He's set up to have some success. Yes, Bertuzzi to the Bruins. As we mentioned off the top of the show, the rich get richer. Grab Quinn, right? Yeah, we're on. Why not? Let's just let's try this out again. Quinn plus money playing with those two elite guys. Let's see if you can get a point. Larkin to the Bruins. Is this
No, Larkin just signed in Detroit.
He just signed a contract. Yeah. Don't scare me here. I mean, I wouldn't scare me. That'd just like shake up the hockey world again. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine? He just signed that. He said just signed an extension yesterday. Okay. I might take a shot on Buffalo as like a little upset pizza money. See what happens there with the Bees. What else do we got here? Where should we go? Let's go to New York. MSG.
Cool.
Rangers minus 181. I'm seeing minus 169 over at Caesars. Using our parlay calculator prop shop to get the best possible odds. The Sens are plus 150 over at DraftKings. So Patrick Kane will make his debut tonight. He's going to play on a line with Artemi Panarin and Vincent Trocheck. If you guys remember 2015, 2016 with the Chicago Blackhawks, 2 years, Artemi Panarin and Patrick Kane played together mostly on a line. They combined for 141 goals and over 300 points in the 2 years. Now, I realize that Patrick Kane is not that same type of player. His shooting percentage is the second lowest he's had over the course of his career. His Corsi 4 is the lowest it's ever been. He's not the same player, but let's be honest about the team that he played with. Since 2000, only the Blue Jackets have allowed more shot attempts at 5-5 per 60 than the Blackhawks. This has been atrocious hockey in Chicago over the past couple of years. You're going to see a fire under this guy's butt. Going to play with his old buddy Panarin. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, man. I think he finds the back of the net tonight, and him and Panarin are going to create some magic the rest of the way.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pumped to watch this. I don't know if Chychrun will play tonight. I kind of hope he does.
He hasn't played in like a month. I could use him on my fantasy squad.
Yeah, you and me both. Obviously, the Sens can use him. It's exciting. I think the Rangers definitely win this game. But I would say that the Sens got more to play for, right? Like
they're playing good. They're hungry.
A month ago,
motivated.
You would have said, no way, not even possible. But here we are. We are, and they're in the hunt. And I don't know if they make it, but this is an Ottawa Senator show, and Chris agrees with me. And that'll be a fun game. I'm definitely going to watch every minute of that one. Ottawa side, I got Tkachuk. Again, he was the guy that we called on Tuesday. I said, if anyone's going to score, it's going to be him. And he did. Ottawa beat up on Detroit 2 games back to back.
They manhandled.
Detroit needed those wins, right? And like that's probably Yzerman's like, they lost those games. All right. Yeah. Let's fire these guys into the sun. Boom. Hronek to Vancouver. Bang. Bertuzzi to Boston. Yzerman knows that their season is done, and he's working accordingly. New York side, I got Zibanejad and I got Panarin.
I think I like about the Sens here. I like the Sens tonight, actually. I know it's going to be tough. The building is going to be electric. There's going to be some firepower. Should be a really fun game, but I just don't believe in Halak as a goalie. Played last night, beat the Flyers in overtime. Shesterkin in net. Halak now. I don't know. I think the Sens could win this game, but there's a couple players I wanted to reference. Claude Giroux up on that top line. He was awesome in those 2 games against Detroit, playing with Stützle and playing with Brady Tkachuk. He's plus 145 for an assist, and this isn't great odds, but he's minus 145 for a point. I like Tim Stützle for 3 shots, and I like Brady Tkachuk for 4 shots. But yeah, I will be getting involved with Patrick Kane. What do we got here? I saw plus 126, I think was the best I saw for a goal. You seen him? Plus 150, BetMGM. Plus 154 at FanDuel. Patty Kane.
Prop shop is your friend, everybody.
Prop shop's your friend. Parlay, Bet365 too. We had a same game parlay last night with the top line, Tarasenko, Kreider, and Zibanejad. That one cashed in our bet tracker yesterday. I think I like plus 280. Tarasenko had the big overtime winner. So this should be fun. Should be really good. Who'd you say your goal scorers were? Tkachuk and
DeBrincat, Zibanejad, and Panarin.
So you got to lean to the over.
I mean, look, Halak and I'm not even going to attempt to guess who's going to play net for the Senators. I mean, it's a disaster back there.
Yeah, it really is. Should be a fun one. What's everybody saying here in the chat? Halak and goal, take the over. Sends Wrecking Crew, get out of the way. He's got plays for days. Our guy. Here we go. Troy in the house. EY, on a scale from 1 to 10, how happy are you about the Chychrun acquisition?
I mean, they gave up nothing on their roster for the best available defenseman. He's a stud, right? Like, I mean, they got him for nothing. For nothing. I mean, if 10's as high as it go, then it's a 10.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, Troy, I think I remember you calling this a while ago. Korpisalo and Grabakov to the Kings. Yeah, the Kings, honestly, they should have been aggressive getting Chychrun. That's exactly what they needed, right? A defenseman and a goaltender. But
I wonder what happened there. Like, you're telling me the Kings couldn't afford what Ottawa gave up? I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know either. I'd love to be a fly on the wall with some of these conversations that happen. I think that the Coyotes overplayed their hand. I think they could have got a lot more for him.
100%
last year. Yeah,
100%
last year. Lopsided affair, I think, in Florida here tonight. These odds have changed significantly. I see minus 180 now for the Panthers, plus 155 for the Preds. Your Preds are selling. Ekholm, right? Ekholm gone. Granlund gone. So Nashville continues to ship off some pieces. I'm a little nervous in one of my fantasy hockey leagues. I got UC Saros. The guy's going to see a lot of rubber. I'm nervous for him over the next couple of months. This is going to be a tough one, I think.
You're not going to get wins, but you're going to have plenty of shots.
Yeah, I think the Panthers roll in this game. I'm going to go Carter Verhaeghe. I think Tkachuk has a 2-point night. I don't know about Barkov. We still don't have any news, I don't think, about Barkov if he's going to suit up here tonight. But Lindell was pretty cheap on DraftKings the other day. Barkov is a game time call here for this evening. What do you got over there?
I've got Duchesne and Novak on the Pred side, and they've ripped the Band-Aid off, and it's really cool to see. Trotz is off to a very good start as a GM. I mean, it doesn't mean a whole lot, but like all the right things are happening so far, and I think the hope is that they continue to happen. This team's going to get young. Andrelista came up, has been a really good scorer in Milwaukee. He looked good, knocked Malkin over. That's not a thing that he does, but it was exciting to see. And Barkov, I hope he plays. I mean, he's one of my favorite players to watch. But I got Duchesne and Novak, Nashville, and going back to the Tkachuk boy and our guy, Anthony Duclair.
Nice.
He's had some real jump, man. Like, you could tell he's been biting at the bit to get back in the lineup.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he had some giddy up in his step when I watched him the other night. So we just don't know about, Barkov.
Yeah.
Barkov doesn't play. I would expect Lindell to be on that top line again with Tkachuk and Reinhart. Lindell is minus 120 for a point. He's plus 160 for an assist as well. So I like that one quite a bit. Even if Barkov does play, maybe Lindell moves to that second line center with Duclair and Carter Verhaeghe. I expect Florida to probably get like 3 to 5 goals here tonight. I think, Luosterainen is interesting, especially if Barkov doesn't play. He's going to be on that second line, but you could see him drop down. It's possible. Maybe go to Lindell in that second line with Duclair and Verhaeghe, and then Barkov's in the lineup with Reinhart and Tkachuk. I don't know if they need to force Barkov, but I'm sure if he's ready to go, he will suit up. I like the Panthers in the puck line. I think that they win by 2 or 3 goals here. Diehard MMA podcast in the house. Yotes have all the draft picks. I really do. What is that? 21? Like first, second, third round picks and over the next 3 years, I do believe. You may have to go a little bit deeper than that. Coyotes champions in 2025.
Maybe, you may want to put a 7 or an 8 there, bud. They're a long ways off.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, Toronto, the Maple Leafs in Calgary, the Flames. We talked about Tyler Toffoli. The guy's hit now in 17 of his last 18 games, 2.5 shots. Just ripping it. Loves to shoot the puck. I mean, he's juiced at minus 155, but he's a guy I think that you got to put into a parlay. I mean, this Flames team We said it all year. They can't get a save, man. They cannot get a save. In case you missed the show a couple weeks ago, the numbers, according to the natural stat trick, at 5-5 per 60 over the last 2 months, they allowed the second fewest shot attempts behind the Carolina Hurricanes. And from a shot standpoint, they have allowed the fewest, 22.74 at 5-5 per 60. But yet this team just finds a way to lose games, blows leads. They can't get a save from Vladar or Markstrom. Leafs, I didn't think played all that good last night. I thought they looked a little sloppy, took some penalties early, and Connor McDavid is McDavid going to score 70 goals this year?
God, I hope so.
He might, man. He might get 60 by the end of the week.
Yep. It's a wild thing. I'm on the Toffoli train with you for sure. And, one of their best players and the narrative of playing Toronto, I got Kadri. I think if I'm betting on someone to score tonight, I think it's going to be Kadri. And on the Toronto side, I got Matthews and Nylander. I was really surprised that they split them up.
I think they're trying to get Matthews going, man.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's what's going on, but it's interesting. Like the Tavares, O'Reilly, Marner line just looked, as unstoppable as a single line could look. They looked so good, and then they split them up. And they lose against the Oilers the other night. I believe that Toronto will win this game. But I think, like you said, it just comes down to saves. Calgary, obviously, by those statistics that you wrote out, it's a good team, right?
They're a great 5-5 squad. They don't give up really anything. They dominated.
They're a great hockey team. The reality is that they can't get saves from their goaltenders. And Vladar's been more reliable, but he's not a starting goalie, is he? He's never been a starting goalie. So
no,
sucks for Calgary. Sucks for the Calgary fans, but here we are. The madness of the NHL continues.
I don't know if the Flames are going to make the playoffs.
They might not.
Well, we've seen the Jets kind of spiral out of control lately as well. We have confirmation in net. I can't imagine Samsonov is playing tonight for the Leafs. Joseph Woll. Oof. We're going to see some offense here today, guys. Might see some offense. 6.5. So. Yeah, I've been doing the Ryan O'Reilly point thing, but I don't know. I might have to step away from that one for a little bit. Ryan O'Reilly to pick up a point. Past couple days he's really killed me. Matthews, I just feel like Marner is the key to everything that happens in Toronto offensively. I just think he's so good.
What a player, man.
He's such a good playmaker that, that line looked good with Tavares and O'Reilly, and then they take him away. And the first game that they put Marner back with Matthews scored 2 goals. So I feel like maybe they're just trying to get him going here tonight. I think the Flames win it, but it should be a highly entertaining game. Toffoli and Backlund for me for shot props. I like Marner for an apple, but not really breaking any news there. He seems to pick up an assist every single game. And my goal scorers, I like what you're doing there with Kadri, a little revenge goal there, but I do like Toffoli. And I think Matthews does find the back of the net here tonight. I think he's got to step up. Let's we don't have boards for every game. Let's go to Detroit. The Red Wings at home, plus 100 against Seattle. The Kraken at minus 110. We have a goal total here of 6.5. The over is plus 100. So Detroit, as we mentioned, those back-to-back games against Ottawa, they got spanked, and now they've traded Filip Hronek, who I think is done for the season anyways. I know he was hurt in that game.
He was hurt,
he was in a sling. Yeah. And now Tyler Bertuzzi away from the squad as well. And Kraken, a lot to play for here. And some pretty good odds, actually, despite being on the road at minus 110. I like Seattle to win this game. And Jared McCann just seems to score. He's the one consistent guy that they have in their lineup every single day that seems to, at least when he's not scoring, he's putting pucks on net.
Yeah, he's been a really good player for them all season. Pretty consistent. Probably their most consistent player. Detroit, I think, they're not waving the white flag, right? But moving those, Hronek being hurt was obviously a big deal. He's an important player for them, and has been maybe their best defenseman all season. Obviously, Bertuzzi was a huge part of what they wanted to do, but I think Stevie Y sees the writing on the wall and flipped him and got some assets, and he's in Boston now. I think Seattle wins this game too. I got Beniers and Bjorkstrand. Bjorkstrand coming back, it looked pretty good in his first game back. He's a player that I've kind of always liked. He's been sneaky good player. So those are the two on the Seattle side. And then I got Larkin and Kubalik. Kubalik has looked really, really good for them. I think Bertuzzi out allows Kubalik to move back up into the top 6. I don't know what the lines will be because they're not set yet. But I think Kubalik, and he's looked in those both the Ottawa games, Kubalik was all over the place, man. He looked really, really good.
Yeah, I was looking for a shot prop for him. I expect him, and I would say Lucas Raymond probably takes that top spot back. So it's probably Larkin, Raymond, and Kubalik there. Yeah, Detroit, they've shown us some things this year. I feel like Perron and Andrew Kopp have been disappointing this year, especially Kopp. I expected more from Andrew Kopp.
Me too.
He hasn't done anything. What's his number? Is he got 5 goals this year, Andrew Kopp?
It's wild. He was such an effective player for Winnipeg, right?
Yeah, and it's his first time in a significant role. 6 goals. He's not doing a whole lot there. Kubalik for a point is plus 130.
Love it.
So the one thing that my issue with the Kraken is their goaltending, man. Martin Jones looked just so bad against the Blues the other night. He gave up 2 softballs, and Grubauer went through a nice stretch where he was looking pretty good, and then he was just back down to earth. I don't know, man. I like this Kraken team. They're not there yet. They need to get themselves a goalie. But I like Seattle to win tonight on the money line. I like Jared McCann to score. I'm not going to take any shot props. There's nobody consistent for Seattle that just gets it done from a shot prop standpoint. But I do like Larkin at over 2.5 at minus 145. But Kubalik is plus 130 for a point. He's plus 260 for an assist. And with some of these trades that are happening, we're finding value. We're going to be able to find value with some, especially on teams that aren't going to make the playoffs. You're going to start to see guys in, whether it's prospects get called up or third or fourth lines, or they trade guys and then those third or fourth liners move up the lineup. And we're going to be able to get good odds on some of these guys that you normally wouldn't think about, like Mikey Eyssimont. We would never be talking about Mikey Eyssimont unless Timo Meier was healthy and playing. He's not. He's traded. Now Eysimont's gone, but that's just an example of some value that we'll be able to see across the board with certain trades. Let's go to Tampa Bay. Lightning at home, minus 166, 6.5 goal total. These two teams played the other day. I think they combined for 9 goals. The Pens whooped Tampa. It was the second half of a back-to-back for the Bolts, and they did have Brian Elliott in net. Tampa, of course, favored here. Give you guys some live odds, minus 162, and the Pens checking in at plus 145. What do you make of the Granlund move? Granlund to Pittsburgh. You like that move, or think it's panic mode for Pittsburgh here?
Well, I mean, they got Crosby and Malkin still playing, and Letang still playing on the team. They're going for it. I mean, they haven't been great. Jari from coming back, started okay, but has been pretty rocky. Brian Dumoulin looks like, doesn't look like half the player that he was last year. So defensively, they're in trouble. Mikael Granlund's a great player. I mean, a guy like that is only going to make your team better. He can play, wing. He can play center. He can play on the power play. He can play on the penalty kill. He's an unbelievable player. He's like an even higher end Calle Jarnkrok, right? Like a Swiss Army knife, can kind of be played wherever, and it makes sense. It would totally make sense to see him play on the top line. He could also play on the third line or fourth line. So he's a great player. Results are going to be dictated by their play, right? But I mean, Pittsburgh, as long as they got Crosby and Malkin and Letang on the ice, they're going for it. So it's a good move for them. They need depth scoring.
They do. They haven't been able to get any stability in net, but you're right. They need scoring. I thought. Anyways, I don't think it's a fantastic move.
Hurt them, right? Kensler and Russ aren't the players they were last season.
Man, Russ had a career year, got paid, and
hasn't
done a whole lot. He did have a nice empty net goal the other night. Did you see that empty net goal was it against your Preds when he dove?
Yeah.
He dove, and we got lucky in our bet tracker. We had Crosby and Gensel in the same game parlay for a point. We got a Gensel assist on that play. But it's good for Russ. I mean, he hasn't had a great year, so I mean, he's trying to get that goal, get the monkey off the back, get him going.
And down years happen, right?
For sure.
It happens. But this is not a good time for him to have a down year. Malkin, Crosby, and Letang aren't going to play forever. So as long as those guys are playing, they're going for it. The GM's there. I think Hextall he's probably too conservative, right? Like to be a GM with a team that has old superstar players, you got to stay aggressive. There's no sense of not, because they're not going to be there in 2 or 3 years. They're not going to.
Yeah. You want to talk about,
if they are, they're not going to be the level of players they are. It's just the reality of time.
You want to talk about a team that's going to be awful in 5 years.
Man, they're bad. They're going to be bad.
They're going to be super bad. I mean, I don't love the trade personally, like a 2nd-round pick for Granlund, but you said it. I mean, if you're the Penguins, the window is now. The big 3. It's right now. They may not even get into the playoffs, but they got to add what they can to kind of get going. And hopefully, if you're a Pens fan, Tristan Jarry finds his form again when he was really good before the injury, and at times last year as well, really good. So anyways, I think we'll see some offense in this game. I don't think it'll be 9 goals again, but I do believe we'll see some offense. I just don't feel like the Penguins can keep the puck out of their net. Braden Point, 2.5 shots. Sidney Crosby, 2.5 shots. Alex Killorn would be my long shot here for a goal. They've kind of shuffled their lines a little bit. Killorn's going to play on that top line with Kucherov and Braden Point. So I'm going to take a shot on Alex Killorn. He's plus 100 for a point, which is a much safer bet. But he is plus 350 over at FanDuel to find the back of the net. What you got over there?
Yeah, I got Crosby and Malkin on the Pittsburgh side, and I got Point and Stamkos on the Tampa side.
7-4, seeing offense, feeling offense. Carnival tonight between the Pens and the Lightning. Let's go to LA. How about Anze Kopitar?
Oh, man.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 goals the other night from Kopitar. Maybe one of the most underrated players in the NHL since the moment that he's come in. I know that from a fantasy standpoint, nobody ever wants to draft this guy. He's always hanging around waiver wires. Not really known for his goal scoring, but clearly can put the puck in the back of the net. The Kings are at home tonight at minus 228, and the Habs should read plus 189. In fact, the Habs are at plus 220 over at FanDuel. Minus 245. I'm seeing live odds. So a lot of money coming in on LA. I think we nailed this the other day on Tuesday. The Habs. We were all over the Habs against the Sharks for the upset. That was nice to get at plus 160. If Jake Allen is in net tonight, honestly, I may go back to the Habs as a potential upset. I know the Kings are playing good. I know that they're fighting for a lot. They're at home. You guys know my rule. First game home after a lengthy road trip in Minnesota, in New Jersey, in New York to face the Islanders, in New York to face the Rangers, in Winnipeg to face the Jets. They lost 3 of those 5 games. They had a nice comeback win from Winnipeg. I believe the Jets are going through something. But at home, lengthy road trip, first game back. Habs are playing good. They're hanging around. I might do a little sprinkle. Plus 222 over at FanDuel. Take it away. I know you got
sometimes you got to do a little sprinkle, buddy. I think LA wins this. They're fighting for their playoff lives. Montreal's got nothing to play for, really.
No, nothing.
I wonder who starts tonight in goal for LA.
They're not going to go Korpisalo tonight. They'll give him a time to adjust. And
it'll be Copley, right?
Yeah, it'll be Copley.
I'm going back to Kopitar. When good players like this get on, like they score 4 goals.
Haters. Yeah,
he's feeling it, right? He's definitely.
It'd be silly not to sprinkle Kopitar goal tonight.
Yeah. So we got Kopitar to score, Fiala to score. He's looked really good. He's been a little kind of snake bitten, right? He's just such a good skater, so good with the puck on his stick, creative. He's like, it's like, I heard Ryan Whitney say this is you're giving your opponents misinformation. And with his stick position and his skating, he's just so interesting to watch. He's constantly giving bad information. I'm going to go this way, and he's really going the other way. Such a good player and a fun player to watch. So that's the 2 guys on the LA side. And I got Suzuki and Hoffman on the Montreal side.
Man, we didn't get Dennis Gurianov, but I think the process was right. He played on the top line with Suzuki. He played 17 minutes, which is the most he played all season long. He had a season high 6 shots. He had 8 shot attempts. He had 2 breakaways. The guy should have had a hat trick. Honestly, he had so much jump in his step. He is really, really fast. And like a lot of Dallas fans told me, he's very inconsistent and he has a hard time finishing. And that's exactly what I saw in that game. But man, him and Suzuki looked pretty good. He's plus 420 for a goal. You know, we were on the plus 550, and it didn't work out, but I'm definitely interested in the plus 420 at FanDuel for him to score. I can't find a shot prop for him. I would jump all over it. I mean, 8 shot attempts and 6 shots. Suzuki's a pass first guy. He's always looking to him. He's getting power play time as well. So I think Gary Anoff to score. I like Adrian Kempe to score. I like Kempe's shots. It's minus 175, but that's an example. You can put Kempe and Toffoli in a parlay together, maybe get plus 140-ish in around there for those two guys. And I'm with you. Like, why not see how hot Kopitar actually is? So Kopitar to score, and I'm a small upset there for the Canadians. And I like Josh Anderson. I like Josh Anderson for shots, and Josh Anderson. He's looked pretty good. He's really getting an opportunity to play with just a lot of injuries and things like that for Montreal. He's plus 105 over at DraftKings for 2.5 shots. And then one more, man, I'm never really feeling the Canadians, but guys, I just feel like there's an edge here with the Habs with certain players. Michael Matheson, 1.5 shots, minus 150. Matheson, 1.5 shots. It's freed off a couple games.
Played a lot of minutes, man.
Who is he ever? His last 3 games, 3 shots, 6 and 5. He's got points in 5 of his last 6 games, 23 minutes, 25 minutes, 27 minutes, 25 minutes, 26 minutes. He's just playing so much. And Suzuki doesn't want to shoot on the power play. That's it. He doesn't want to shoot the puck. He's either looking over to Anderson or he's looking back at Matheson. So I like both of those guys for shot props. What do we got here? There it is. I'm not a complete homer. Myron Kidd knows what's going on. Don't forget about Matheson.
I picked up Matheson everywhere. I think it's like at this point,
I think he's a must-add
in fantasy, like seasonal and fantasy leagues. Like he's a guy that hasn't been playing, right? So he's available. I went out, I added him everywhere. He's playing over 20 minutes. He's playing on the top power play, playing on the top pair. Like, you know, guys like that in season-long leagues don't grow on trees, and at this point, like, you know, they're out there. So just stay engaged, keep battling, or just be in first all year. You just be in first all year like me.
It's all about opportunity, right? I mean, Matheson's a nice player. He's traded for Petrie. They got a little bit younger. He's got a ton of speed. He's getting an opportunity to play heavy minutes on a team that's doesn't really have much skill. So he is going to continue to log a lot of ice time. So I'm in on it. Hit Killorn on Tuesday. What do we got here? Kempe goal, like it. Kings first period puck line in 60. Whew. Tell you what, man, Kings may come out flat, guys. Kings may come out flat. Still baffled by the Quick trade. I don't know, man. I don't see an issue with it. I understand that he's a Kings legend. What, are you just going to keep this guy in your squad just because he's won you cups?
Terrible.
That's terrible. It. You get like... They'll do something for him. They may raise his numbers in the banners. They put a statue out front for Brown. They probably put a statue next to, they'll have a bunch of statues in LA. They'll have a Brown statue, a Quick, a Kopitar, a Doughty. He'll get his respect.
All the statues.
At the end of the day,
gets a statue.
Everyone gets a statue. You get
2023,
a statue. Statues. Like, what did Dustin Brown ever do to get a statue? You kidding me? The guy was okay. He's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if you put up a statue with Dustin Brown, you better put one up for Ronald Quick.
And if you're putting, and then you're putting one for Kopitar, and then you're putting one for Drew Doughty. Jeez. But I don't have an issue with the trade. They did them dirty. It's a business. They're trying to make the playoffs, win the Stanley Cup, and improve their weakest position is in goal. And Jonathan Quick's numbers are atrocious. They're brutal.
I mean, he's unstartable.
If they really wanted to disrespect him, they would have sent him down to the minors. Let's be honest.
Right.
It's not a great landing spot. I think that they tried to find a better landing spot, but again, let's be honest. Who is taking on Jonathan
I want
Quick?
him to end up in Vegas and them to play in the first round.
Now that would be fantastic.
Yes, please.
That would be absolutely fantastic. It's a little bit of a downgrade though, right? To go from a king to a knight. I don't know. We'll see. We'll say goodbye to Game Plus Network. We appreciate you guys hanging out. We do have 2 or 3 more games to break down, and we will do our goal scorers here. We got to get out. We're short on time. I think the goal scorer, one goal scorer, quickly. Who is it for Game Plus?
I already said Kadri.
There it is. Kadri. Revenge. Hopping over to our FTN Network YouTube page. Have a fantastic night on the ice, and we will talk to you guys on Tuesday. Enjoy the madness that will be tomorrow. Cheers. Okay, I think we're think we're through the Habs. We think we've talked enough about the Habs. Minnesota and the Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks at home -140. We have the Wild checking in at -162. The Canucks play to a lot of overs. The Wild play to a lot of unders. They both have been like,
happen?
What is going to happen? Because taking the over on Canucks games have been a lock over the last 2 months, and taking the under on Minnesota games have been a lock over the last 2 months. But when you play a leaky team like Vancouver, maybe your offense will break out. I think the Wild win this game today, but it is tough to lay that kind of juice on a team like Minnesota that can't find the back of the net. But the Canucks are a one-line team right at the moment. They're a one-line team. JT Miller's not with the squad.
So is Minnesota.
Spencer's getting traded. You're right. So is Minnesota. Kaprizov, Boldy, Kuzmenko.
Kaprizov, Boldy. I mean, I get they got
Johansson and they got Nyquist.
Yep, and I think that helps. Those are two very good players, right? And guys that can easily play in your top six. So we'll see. We'll see. That it's exactly what they needed. They needed somebody with better scoring touch, but those guys don't grow on trees. In Minnesota, like they have some room right now, but like next year, good luck, Bill Guerin. They're a disaster.
Yeah, they really.
I mean, just the Suter and Parise deals just crippled this team. And I think there wasn't a person in the NHL that said it's going to cripple this team when it happened, and it's exactly what happened.
It's tough to give those deals, those lengthy deals. I didn't mind the Suter one, but I wasn't really sold on the Parise, even though he had 2 really good seasons back to back before he was a UFA. Like he was a really good player.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does hurt you, those long deals like that.
Long deals to older players, and you're seeing the NHL's learning, right? Like you're seeing, like people are like, man, I can't believe they paid, trying to think of a young guy, the players in Buffalo, these young guys, Cousins getting rewarded, Tage, like the Tage Thompson contract already looks like theft, right? Yeah, already. I mean, he's outplayed it already.
And Cousins too.
And Cousins is going to outplay that deal as well. Younger players are getting paid when they're performing, and teams are trying to avoid having older players on these long deals where they're making more money when they're just not as productive. And that's the smartest thing to do, and it's happening, which is good to see.
I like Kaprizov at 4 shots, decent price, -120. But Joel Eriksson Ek is probably my favorite from the Wild at -130 for 3 shots. Looks like Marcus Johansson's going to play with him and Matthew Boldy. So yeah, adding a little bit of offense, right? Not fantastic players.
He's been a very good player forever.
Yeah,
right?
Guys that have been there before. And Nyquist will add a little bit of firepower to the squad as well, maybe on the second power play. I think Minnesota and the under is the play, just following trends here. But I do want to give more love to Kuzmenko. I think we got away from him a little bit. We were giving him love on this show. And I know he's been good to us at times. Man, what a season he is having. That's if you're a Vancouver fan, you're probably banging your head against the wall over the past couple seasons with the organization and things that they've been doing. But Kuzmenkov looks like a really nice player. Elias Pettersson's a superstar. Kuzmenkov's hit the score sheet in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of his last 7 games. He has 3 multi-point showings over that span. He's coming off a 3-point night. He's -140 for a point. He's +180 for an apple. I'm not going to get involved with the shot prop. To score goal, he is +184. I like him to have a point. I think maybe an assist is a good play as well. We'll take it away. I think you got some plays over there for the Wild.
Yeah, Kaprizov and Boldy for me, and on the Vancouver side, Pettersson and Anthony Bolivier has looked really
has
good.
He ever? Good call.
Being a Vancouver Canuck, man. Skating, shooting, involved, motivated. I mean, that's a really good get for them. A guy that's kind of lost in the malaise of the Islanders over the last couple of years. I know the Islanders, they're not. Everyone wants to be like, oh, they button up hockey and this and the other. They're not that team anymore. That's not how they play. That's not how they're structured. That's not the strategy, or that's just not how they play anymore. But Bolivier played there when Trotz was there, and they were, trying to have 5 shots on net, and that's not the kind of hockey that he plays. He plays giddy up and go hockey. That's what Vancouver's playing right now because of the personnel, and it's been cool to see, man. Good for him, and I think he scores tonight.
I'm glad you brought him up. He's actually got better odds than Kuzmenko, and it just all correlates. Like both of those guys are playing with Pettersson. Bolivier is minus 112 for a point. He's plus 205 for an assist. I like that.
I love that.
No disrespect to Barzell, but Elias Patterson's the best player that Bolivier's ever played with, and those guys look like they're playing really good. I agree with this comment too, Myron. If Kaprizov wasn't in Minnesota, this Wild team would be extremely tough to watch. It's on my bucket list to go to a Minnesota game. It looks electric there. Love the fan base.
It's a cool place. It's kind of quiet, right? And sometimes that happens in arenas where the fans are like hockey people. Right, they're just kind of quiet and watching. It's not that they're not enjoying it; they just kind of dialed in and not making noise because they're just watching the play. I'll say like the game ups there. It's from a guy that comes from Nashville. Like it's just there's not a lot going on, right? It's just the hockey happens. So then there's like some quiet music playing, and you're just sitting there waiting for play to start again. Like in Nashville, like.
It's bumping all the time.
There's something happening every time. There's the puck is not in play. Like there's something for you to be entertained with. So it's a very different experience.
I've been to 2 Preds games and I've had a blast in both of them. Both of them are fantastic. Yeah, really good times. Okay, that's it. I like the goal horn in Minnesota. I'm a sucker for a good goal horn. That's a top 5 goal horn for me. I am a true hockey psycho. Dallas and Chicago, Blackhawks at home plus 210 and the Stars at minus 235. Dallas came back last night. Arizona had a 2-0 lead early, and then the Stars came back and made it happen. I noticed Dadonov, man, 2 games, 2 points. Tyler Seguin showed up with a couple points, couple goals, I believe he had. I still think that this is a team that needs to do a little bit more between now and tomorrow afternoon. I would like to see something else offensively from this squad.
Yeah.
But it's hard not to back them tonight, even against Chicago, against the Blackhawks. But you'd have to take them in 60. You have to take them on the puck line. And I'm a little nervous to take Dallas on the puck line because they don't score a lot of goals.
Yeah, I think Dallas wins this game. I got Robertson to score, of course, and Jamie Benn playing on playing on that second line. He's been good, and I've always liked Jamie Benn. I got a soft spot for him, but I believe because of his play, because of where Dallas is, and the additions there, that Ben has looked pretty motivated over the last couple of games. Obviously, I mean, he's never been a great skater, but just a smart, hard-nosed player that knows where to go. Won the Rocket Richard Trophy.
You won the Art Ross.
The Art Ross Trophy, which is wild.
He had like 87 points.
Yeah, which is wild. On the Chicago side, Max Domi and Ty Radish again.
And that's it. What other Blackhawk could you pick? Anthony Ciu? Max Domi has been Max Domi's been pretty good to us, guys, in terms of shot props. He's, as we continue to talk all the time, he's just another guy that's getting a lot of ice time. I would imagine he is traded at some point between now and tomorrow afternoon. He'd be a decent get for a team that needs some offense. His last few games, 4 shots, 4, 8, 3, 2, and 4. He is minus 118. And I know it's the Stars. I understand that. They don't give up a lot of rubber, but Domi's going to play 19, 20 minutes here, and he has been shooting. So minus 118 for 3 shots tonight. I like Rupe Hintz at minus 110 for 3 shots tonight. And I like Dadonov. Dadonov's looked pretty good, actually. A change of scenery, motivation, leaving a garbage team like the Habs to go to a team like Dallas, who they're fighting. Right, some giddy up in his step. He's got a goal and an assist and 2 points, and so the 2 points in the 2 games, and he's got 6 shots. I can't find a shot prop anywhere for Dadonov, but he's plus 106 for a point. I like that, and he's plus 205 for an assist. I like that one too. We got one more game here, I think. San Jose and St. Louis. San Jose at home, minus 117 favorites. The Blues are checking in at plus 105. What you got over there?
St. Louis side, Kyrou and Buchnevich. And on the San Jose side, I got Hurdle and going back to my guy, Barabanov. Now he's playing even more minutes, still playing on that top line with Couture and playing power play time. I'm not going to watch this game. In case anyone's
no,
not even me.
No, I won't either. I had a hard time watching the Habs and the Sharks the other night. I was like, what is happening? It started at 11:30 my time. I was up till 2 in the morning.
Oh,
I doubled down though. I had them to win at like plus 140, and then in the third period they were plus 295, and I'm like, I'm doubling down. They're winning this game today, and they did end up winning it. Logan Couture, 2.5 shots, minus 103. Not a guy that I normally go to, but
he's had a sneaky, really good season. Like, look at his numbers. Nobody's talking about it.
No, because
he's had a very good offensive season on a really bad team.
And he's got 7 shots over his last 2 games. And there, that second line now, Zetterlund, Hurdle, and Johansson. Zetterlund, I thought, looked okay. He had a couple shot attempts, but nothing fantastic. I still think the return for Timo Meier is very underwhelming. But I like Logan Couture. We'll see what happens with Zetterlund, but he is, going to play 17 minutes a night as opposed to 12, 13 that he got in New Jersey. But I wonder, like, for me, how long would you hang on to a guy like Tom Schertl? I think you drop him in fantasy. Like, he was so good next to Timo Meier, and now he's just he's not going to do a whole lot the rest of the way. You just cut him, right?
For like I think we talk about this. It just depends on your league. If you're in a 16 team where you start 3 full lines, and Hurdles probably still has a value. If you're in a 10-team league where you start 6 forwards and 2 defensemen, then he was droppable 2 months ago. So it just depends. It's hard to say, but he's not the player that they thought they were getting, right? No. I think.
And Kairu's been through something too, but I'm more willing to hang on to him because there's better talent surrounding him. He's still got Thomas and Buchnevich, and still got a couple talented forwards. But Thomas Hurdle's got 1 point in his last 6 games. He's got 2 shots in his last 4. He's not a big shooter. And now he just lost arguably the best sniper in the league. So that's a guy that I would probably cut my ties with. In fact, I have personally, because I did have a lot of shares of him. I think we did it, man. I think we wrapped up. I'll throw it to you here in a second. I'm just going to recap sides and totals here. So let's start up at the top. I do have a couple upsets that I'm sprinkling just a little bit of money. The Sabres at plus 245. It'll be like a half unit play for me. I like the Panthers on the puck line against the Preds. You can get that at plus 140 over at DraftKings. I really like that bet. I like the Sens tonight at plus 150. I know it seems super weird. It seems super weird to do it because of Patrick Kane, and the atmosphere is going to be electric at MSG, but the Sens, I think the Sens are really feeling it at the moment. It's going to be a really highly entertaining game. I like the over between the Penguins and the Lightning. I like the Kraken to get it done against Detroit. I have a lean to the under in that matchup. I like Dallas as well on the puck line, but it's not one of my favorite plays. Stars don't score a lot of goals, as we discussed. They played last night. It won't be Ottinger in net, and I think Wedgwood is hurt, but plus 104 isn't too bad. I do like the Flames on home ice at minus 108. I like the Wild and the under. Sprinkle a little bit on the Habs at plus 220. I'm not going to touch St. Louis or San Jose, but I would have a lean to the Blues. But I'm not watching it. I'm not putting my hard-earned bucks on it. That's for sure. I think my favorite play is Florida on the puck line. Goal scorers.
All right, goal scorers. Duchesne, Novak, Tkachuk, Duclair, Tkachuk, DeBrincat, Zibanejad, Panarin, Crosby, Malkin, Point, Stamkos, Tage, Cousins, Pedersen, Pasta, DeBrusk, Berniers, Bergstrand, Larkin, Kubalik, Robertson, Ben, Domi, Radish, Matthews, Nylander, Toffoli, Kadri. That's my guarantee goal scorer of the night. Kaprizov, Boldy, Patterson, Bolivier, Suzuki, Hoffman, Kopitar, Fiala, Kairu, Buchnevich. Who do I have here?
Can't even read his own writing. He's got too many.
It's brutal.
Hurdle,
and Barabanov. The 8-way parlay. I got both the Tkachuk boys, Zibanejad, Stamkos, Tage, Pasta, Matthews, and that's it.
All right.
That's the 8-way.
The 8-leg maniac. I like this too. It's a good idea. We talked about a listeners league before. The Hammerhead Union says he has a FanDuel nightly hockey league if anyone's interested. Yeah, maybe drop the link in the comment section after the show is over so people could see it. If you wanted to drop it now, if you want to drop it after the show, that way people can see it. I think it's a pretty good idea. I think it's something that we should maybe consider doing.
We've
We
talked
put a few
about it
bucks
before.
on
We
it.
definitely should
Yeah,
do it.
we could
Yeah.
make it free for fun. We
Be
could have
fun.
a few bucks in it. I know people in Ontario and Toronto can't play DFS anymore, unfortunately. And I know that we have a lot of viewers there near Game Plus Network and Anthem Sports Entertainment, but we may get a handful. I mean, we have a very active NHL DFS Discord channel over at FTN Daily, which we can as well. 8-way with double Kachuk. I like it. I dig it. Okay, so for me, goal scorers tonight, I'm taking a little bit of a shot on Jack Quinn as well at plus 350, but I do like the point at plus 136 and the assist at plus 280. Tage Thompson again as well, because I am back in the Sabres here tonight, and I think we'll see Jake DeBrusk score. For Florida, Carter Verhaeghe, I like Anton Lundell at minus 120 for a point. I like Anthony Duclair as well. For Ottawa and New York, I like Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk. On the Rangers side, you know it. Patrick Kane season, showtime. Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay, I like Braden Point. Alex Killorn's my long shot there. I like Jake Gensel. For the Kraken, Jared McCann. That's all I'm going to do there. For the Dallas Stars, I like Rupe Hintz and Evgeny Dadonov. For the Toronto Maple Leafs, I do like Austin Matthews to score and Tyler Toffoli for the Flames. And then for the Minnesota Wild, I'm going with Kaprizov and Matt Boldy and Kuzmenko for the Vancouver Canucks. For the Habs, I got Dennis Gurianov. For the Kings, I got Adrian Kempe. For the Blues, I'll go with Kyrou, I guess, and Logan Couture. But again, I'm not crazy about really much in that game. Shot props, Joel Eriksson Ek, Hintz, Domi, Couture, Kempe, Toffoli, Backlund, Stützle, Brady Tkachuk, Tage Thompson, DeBrusk, Larkin, Duchesne, Braden Point, Josh Anderson, Michael Matheson. I cast Tuesday with Quinn. There you go. Bankroll. Put a little bit more on him. See if we can add a little bit more. Declare. Playoff pool. Bob Wolf. Playoff pool. Maybe we should do a playoff pool. Maybe we should start a Dangle Bet Sully playoff pool where you can only pick 10 players, any 10 you want. Maybe you have to represent like 3 teams, because then we'll just get like 10 Bruins and 10 Avs.
Yeah,
won't be that fun. Okay, guys, we got to get out of here. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. It's been a crazy week. Still battling a flu here, battling a cold. Over under 10.5 more trades from now until the deadline.
Over.
Oh yeah. Over under
the
17.5 more.
The
trades.
West has done nothing, and it's still wide open. And I think my take on it is, because it's wide open and there's so many teams that could sneak in or be eliminated over the next couple of weeks, is they're kind of holding their chips close to their vest. Someone wants to win, right? I mean, Eller went to Colorado. Now it's time for other teams in the West to answer that, right? Like, nobody else has really done anything. The Preds but they're not trying to win, right? They're dealing players. So yeah, I think 10 over for sure. That might be wishful thinking, because I got buddies coming over and we're going to watch it all day and maybe we won't have anything left to talk about. But we haven't seen each other in a couple weeks, and we're in like a chat group. But when we get here, we'll basically reinvent the NHL and break down every trade.
I think there's still terrific value on the Avs who win the Cup at 6-1, because they have the clearest path. Because you could make a case for 5 or 6 teams in the East.
Yep.
Like, you put your money on Tampa, Toronto, New Jersey, Boston, and the Rangers in Carolina. Like, holy crap, man. What a bloodbath.
Any one of those teams.
The Avs are cooking. The Avs are rolling now. They lost last night, but they had their third string goalie in between the pipes. Like, they're feeling it. And I love the addition of Lars Eller, man. Just a veteran player who's been there before, has won a cup, is smart, 2-way player, and you're just going to chuck him on the third line. So, all righty. Appreciate you guys. Good luck on the ice, and we will talk to you guys soon. Cheers.